or lack of response will impact the situation long after it has occurred. By staying silent, you disarm the person who intended to provoke a reaction. They may not know how to handle your silence because it removes the fuel they were hoping for. It leaves them with nothing to react to, nothing to manipulate or use against you. Your silence, therefore, becomes a tool for maintaining your peace and protecting your energy. In the long term, they are left with the uncomfortable realization that their attempt to draw you into conflict has failed. In many ways, silence in the face of disrespect is an act of emotional mastery. It requires the strength to resist the urge to lash out, the wisdom to recognize when silence is more powerful than words, and the emotional intelligence to manage your feelings in a way that preserves your dignity and your peace. By choosing silence, you assert control over your emotional landscape, and in doing so, you rise above the situation. You prove to yourself and to others that you are not a slave to your emotions or to the behavior of those around you. Instead, you stand firm in your ability to navigate challenges with grace and wisdom. Choosing to remain silent after experiencing disrespect is a reflection of the deepest form of personal strength and maturity. In our society, there is a constant pressure to defend oneself, to retaliate when we are wronged, and to make sure that others understand our point of view. However, it takes true strength to not immediately respond to disrespect with words or actions. It takes courage to maintain composure, to resist the urge to fight back, and instead choose to stay quiet. This decision is not born out of weakness or fear. Rather, it is the conscious choice of someone who understands their own worth and recognizes that they do not need to lower themselves to the level of someone who disrespects them. This strength doesn't come from a desire to suppress emotions or pretend that the disrespect didn't hurt. On the contrary, it acknowledges that the pain exists, but chooses not to let it dictate the response. It recognizes that responding in kind only prolongs the negativity, and that true power lies in choosing to rise above the situation. When you remain silent, you are actively demonstrating that you are the one in control, that you can face disrespect without losing your sense of dignity or your emotional balance. It is a deliberate act of strength that signals to both yourself and others that you will not allow external circumstances or the words of others to determine your emotional state or behavior. Moreover, staying silent in the face of disrespect allows you to hold on to your integrity. When you respond with anger or harsh words, you may feel a temporary sense of satisfaction or relief, but this does not change the fact that you have allowed someone else's actions to compromise your integrity. Your silence, however, is a demonstration of self-respect. It shows that you are not willing to engage in petty conflict or to degrade yourself by stooping to a level that is beneath you. Instead, you protect your sense of self, your values, and your principles by not allowing the disrespectful behavior to impact your character. In doing so, you maintain your inner peace and self-respect, which are much more valuable than the fleeting satisfaction that may come from an emotional outburst. Furthermore, when you choose silence, you are asserting that your time and energy are too valuable to be spent in pointless arguments or on people who do not deserve your attention. Disrespectful people often seek to get under your skin, to cause a reaction, because it gives them a sense of power or control. But by staying silent, you refuse to engage with that need. You show that your emotional energy is reserved for things that truly matter, things that will elevate your life and your purpose, not for conflicts that only serve to bring negativity and frustration. Your silence becomes an act of self-preservation. It is a clear boundary that you set with others, stating that your emotional energy is precious and it will not be wasted on those who do not value it. Choosing silence in the face of disrespect is also an affirmation of your emotional resilience. It acknowledges that while the disrespect may sting, it does not define you. You are able to withstand the sting without allowing it to penetrate your sense of self-worth. This resilience is not just about enduring, it's about growing through adversity. Every time you choose not to react to disrespect, you build emotional strength. You reinforce your ability to face challenges with grace and poise. And in doing so, you continue to grow into a stronger version of yourself. It is through these moments of choosing silence, even when it feels difficult, that you sharpen your emotional intelligence and grow more capable of navigating life's challenges without being derailed by the actions of others. Remaining silent when faced with disrespect is not only a method of protecting your peace, but also a form of empowerment that allows you to retain control over your life. In a world that often values loud reactive responses, silence serves as a quiet yet profound act of rebellion against the urge to fall into chaos. It's easy to feel pressure to fight back or to justify yourself when others are trying to undermine you. The loudest voices, the most dramatic responses, often seem to win in a world that loves spectacle. However, silence is an alternative power that allows you to sidestep the drama while still maintaining your position of strength. It is a refusal to participate in the negativity and a way of asserting that you have a greater purpose than engaging in petty disputes or falling victim to someone else's behavior. This quiet power manifests when you recognize that by responding, you are engaging in a cycle that ultimately serves the person disrespecting you more than it serves you. Disrespectful individuals often seek to provoke a response because their intention is to either deflate your sense of self-worth or to prove that they have power over you. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or angry. But when you choose silence, you not only deny them this satisfaction, but you also send a clear message that they have no control over your emotions or your actions. You are not subject to their whims or their negative energy. Instead, you become the one in control of the interaction, deciding what is worthy of your energy and what isn't. Your silence becomes a shield, protecting you from unnecessary emotional turmoil and maintaining your peace. Furthermore, silence allows you to preserve your mental and emotional clarity, especially in situations where responding may only escalate the issue. Sometimes the best way to understand the root of disrespect or to discern the character of someone who is being disrespectful is to observe them in silence. When we engage in conversations driven by emotion, it can be difficult to hear or see the deeper motives behind someone's actions. Silence gives you the space to reflect, to analyze the situation, and to process your thoughts before making any decision. Rather than reacting impulsively, silence allows you to respond from a place of wisdom, understanding, and foresight. It helps you gain the clarity needed to make better decisions, whether that's choosing to disengage entirely, setting firm boundaries, or knowing when to speak up at the right moment. In the long run, this silence is a form of personal growth. Every time you resist the urge to respond out of emotion, you are actively building resilience. You become more capable of dealing with adversity, not by reacting to it in the traditional sense, but by understanding that not every challenge requires a verbal response. Over time, this strengthens your character and sharpens your ability to stay calm in even the most trying of situations. Your silence allows you to remove yourself from unnecessary conflict, giving you the mental and emotional space to focus on what truly matters: your goals, your relationships, your personal growth. Moreover, when you remain silent, you allow the situation to unfold naturally. Often, those who disrespect others do so because they lack self-awareness or because they are projecting their own insecurities. By not reacting, you give them the space to either reflect on their behavior or expose themselves further. Your silence provides a safe distance from their negative energy, allowing you to observe their actions without being caught in the crossfire of their disrespect. In many cases, the disrespectful person may realize on their own that their behavior is inappropriate, or they may find themselves unable to continue the attack when they receive no reaction. This silence forces them to confront the reality that their disrespectful behavior has no power over you. This form of empowerment through silence becomes a powerful tool in creating emotional independence. When you allow your emotions to be dictated by the words or actions of others, you become reliant on them for your sense of self-worth or emotional stability. However, when you choose to remain silent, you take that power back. You are no longer dependent on external validation or reactions to define your emotional state. Your self-worth is anchored internally, and by exercising restraint, you protect the integrity of that self-worth. This is a crucial step toward emotional maturity, because it represents the understanding that no one outside of you has the authority to determine how you should feel or behave. The beauty of this silence lies in its ability to speak louder than words ever could. While the disrespectful person may attempt to diminish you with their words, your silence exudes strength, calm, and self-assurance. It is a refusal to participate in the toxic drama they seek to create. It is a statement that you are above their disrespect and that your peace is more important than any temporary satisfaction that may come from an argument or confrontation. In essence, silence serves as the most powerful form of resistance to those who seek to undermine you, and through it, you reclaim your personal power, your